We're just going to record this. So tonight we're going to have a bit more of an interactive training because I'm going to talk you through following people up from once they've seen the first bit of information with Forever and taking people around the cycle. So what to say once they've seen that first bit of information and then taking them through, various, there's a few things that they would say, and then taking them through what to say once they've seen the second piece of information. And I guess the key thing with the recruitment workshop is any little gem that you can get from it, fantastic. And I do lots and lots of speaking to people about business. And I think it's really important. Practice makes perfect. So I'm going to ask a couple of you in a minute just to be volunteers, that I will chat to you, take you around the cycle, and you can be as awkward as you like, and I can just teach you a few techniques that I use to help that person that you're speaking to work out if and what is in it for them. I suppose the best way for me to start the recruitment workshop is first of all to say a massive hello to everybody that's online. This is designed to help you to build your team. And one of the key things when we're inviting people to look at the business is, firstly, it's an invitation, not a presentation. It's really, really important that you understand all we're doing is inviting people to look at the information. As a Forever business owner, we do not have to be fantastic and really good at explaining how the business works. That's not our job. We show them the information. And initially, when we're taking someone around the business cycle, you've got your why in the middle. The first part is your who you know list, and the bit we're talking about now is the contact and show. So when you're contacting them and showing them some information, you're either going to show them either your own short video to explain the business, or you're going to send them your upline's short video to explain the business, or you're going to meet them for a one-to-one, which is a specific presentation, and there is some great examples in the pinned post, or they may have come to a launch, so they've seen that initial piece of information. So what I'm going to talk through now is how we follow those people up, because the way that you follow up is really important. Following up is really important, okay? So that's the key, and being organised is really important. So when someone has first watched for argument's sake, we'll talk about someone who's watched the YouTube clip. Okay, so someone's seen a short video of your upline or your own YouTube video, and you're going to give them a ring, and three things, there's a chance of three things happening. They're either going to pick up the phone and they're going to say, "Do you know what, thanks for the information, but it just is not for me. It really isn't for me." Okay, or they're going to say, "Thanks for the information, it looks good, but XYZ." Or they're going to say, "Looks amazing, have you got any more information?" Okay, so they're pretty much the three things that people are going to say. So when we ring someone and we follow up, and I always recommend that you follow up at least within a couple of days. Obviously, once you've finished your page 25 of inviting them to look at the information, it's always a good idea to say, "Okay, great, when do you think you'll get the chance to have a look?" And then get that date in the diary. "Okay, great, so if I call you tomorrow, you've had a look." Because some people might say, "Oh, I'll watch it tonight, call me tomorrow." If they're like, "Oh, I'll watch it in the next couple of days," just give them a call 48 hours later. So I always make sure I follow up within a couple of days. So you've got the choice of these two things that are going to happen, three things. Or the fourth is that they may not have watched it. If they haven't watched it, no problem whatsoever. When do you think you'll get the chance? There's no pressure, there's no desperation, there's nothing here. It's very much we would like someone to see something in it for them. And if they do, fantastic. And if they don't, no problem at all. So the first option is that someone says to you, "It looks amazing, have you got some more information?" Okay. Now, if someone says to you, "It looks amazing, have you got some more information?" often your first instinct will be, "Yes, we've got a business presentation. Have a look at this. It's great. It's 45 minutes long, blah, blah, blah," and you send that to them. The danger with doing that is that we don't know what they've seen in it that they like yet. So I never send the business presentation. I never take them to the next part, the next stage. So I never send them the recorded business presentation. I never take them to a BP unless I've asked this question: what grabbed you? Okay, so when someone's seen some information, the key thing I ask, so if you pick up the phone and they say, yeah, I've watched it, looks amazing, you know, what, have you got any more information? I just say, great, what grabbed you? Because that's so, so important, because that person is then going to tell you what they've seen in the business for them, what they like about the information they've seen. And it may be completely different to what you actually thought it was going to be, because we just don't know what people are going to see it. And for them, we can assume that, you know, a mum might see it as an extra income, or we can assume that someone from the corporate world might see it as a top up. But we don't know that person in the corporate world might be thinking, God, I hate my job, I want to get out of it. The mum might be thinking, I could build an empire. You know, I'm going crazy being a full-time mum. So it's really important. So if someone says to you, yep, it looks great, have you got some more information? Fantastic. Yes, of course I have. What grabbed you? Okay. If someone comes back to you, so you get that information from them, and then I'll talk to you in a second about how we follow on from there. If someone comes back to you and they say, your second option is, yes, it looks great, but I don't know enough people. I'm rubbish at sales. I haven't got the confidence to do that. I don't think I've got enough time. They're pretty much the common ones that you're going to get. There's loads of people in the area doing it. It's not for me. If someone comes back to you and says that, you simply say, putting that aside for now, what grabbed you? Okay, because they've said, look, it looks great, but I'm worried about this. It looks great, but I'm worried about that. And all of these things that people are concerned about, if you think about it, you probably all were as well. So would we fit it in? Am I a really good salesperson? Could I actually, you know, and I'll talk you through these in a second. Do I know enough people? Isn't this way out of my comfort zone? Have I got the confidence? There's loads of people in the area doing it. Those kind of things, they're probably genuine things that we've all thought. So when someone says that, I very relaxed say, okay, no problem, but putting that aside for now, what grabbed you? And then that person is likely to say, I like products, I can really do with an extra income, the company seems really professional. So then I will say to them, okay, and I always do the feel, felt, found, because I did feel that way. I know how they feel. Because I felt exactly the same way. Sorry, I lost my train of thought then. So with those concerns, I always say, okay, putting that aside for now, what grabbed you? Okay, well, I know how, when it comes to time, I know how you feel. I felt exactly the same way. I had twins. They were 10 months old when I joined the business, full-time career. But what I found was, by working a plan, working closely with my mentor and working in the nooks and crannies, I've managed to build a really good income around those commitments. If it's don't know enough people, okay, putting that aside for now, what grabbed you? I liked X, Y, Z. Okay, well, I know how you feel about not knowing enough people. Because that's exactly how I felt when I started the business. I was really worried to keep myself to myself. Don't often say hello to people at the gym. You know, your story would be your own story. But what I found was all I needed to do was show my friends and family what I was doing, and that started my network growing. And with the help of my mentor, she's helped me to expand my network as I would with you. And if someone says, time, don't know enough people, rubbish at sales. Okay, putting that aside for now, what grabbed you? Well, I like X, Y, and Z. Well, look, I know how you feel about the sales side of things because I'm rubbish too. And I am. I can't, you know, and I was so worried that I'd be this person that all my friends kind of dived under the table because here comes Claire trying to flog them a load of aloe. So I just say to them, look, I know how you feel. I felt exactly the same way. I couldn't think of anything worse than being a salesperson. But what I found was all I needed to do was recommend some products to my friends and family who I knew they could help, which meant that I've built customers quite easily and now they've recommended products to other people. Okay, so it's kind of like what grabbed you, putting that aside for now, what grabbed you? And then as soon as you've done the feel, felt, found, you lead them straight into the next step. So we don't wait, you lead them, okay? So the key thing here is not to wait, it's to lead them to the next. Sorry, I'm looking at my hair thinking it's a mess. So it's not to lead them, but it's to, it's not to wait, it's to lead them to the next step. Because if you sort of say, look, I know how you feel, I felt exactly the same way, but what I found was X, Y, Z, they're going to say, yeah, but I'm worried about this as well. So what you then need to do is move on to the next step and literally practice these words. I have them imprinted in my brain because I say it all the time, and I say these words. Oh, sorry, those aren't the right words because that's talking about getting people registered. Okay, so bear with me a second. I'm just going to flick through the sides. Just give me a sec. I think they might have got a bit jumbled up. Right, okay. There is this paragraph. For some reason they've got jumbled up. Okay, don't worry. Right, okay, it's not going to be on here. So essentially, I always say these words, and if you want to message me afterwards, I'll send them to you. Some of them got you already. So someone said to you, yeah, that's great, but blah. Okay, putting that aside for now, what grabbed you? And they say, well, I like this, I like that, and I like this. Okay, fab. Well, look, I know how you feel about the whole time issue. I felt exactly the same way, but what I found was X, Y, Z. The best thing to do now is do what I did and watch the business presentation. It gives you all the nuts and bolts about the business. It talks to you about Forever. It talks to you about our aloe. It talks to you about the products, how we find customers, how we build a team, how we can expect to be paid, and the best way to get started in the business. It's 45 minutes long. When do you think you'll get the chance to watch it? And I'll give you a call afterwards. Okay, so, and I say it in that tone. I say it in a very relaxed way because it's important that people understand that if they're going to watch the 45-minute business presentation, it's going to give them all the nuts and bolts to the business. It's going to talk to them about the company, the products, how they find customers, how they build a team, how they can expect to be paid, and the best way to get started in the business. When do you think you'll get the chance to watch it? I'll give you a call afterwards. That delivery is very different to, well, you have a think about it. So if I said that to you, and if I took this delivery, okay, well, look, the best thing to do now is to watch the business presentation. It gives you all the nuts and bolts about the business, talks about the company, the products, how we find customers, how to build a team, the best way to get started in the business. When do you think you'll be able to watch it? How do you think someone is going to receive that kind of approach as opposed to a relaxed, well, look, this is the best thing to do? Feel free to take yourselves off mute, guys. Don't be nervous. It's just me. It's just me with very little makeup on. It's just me. So do feel free to take yourself off mute and chat to me. So let me know how you feel you receive that approach to a bit more relaxed approach. What we don't want to come across is desperate. No one wants to join a desperate forever business owner. People want to join people who are resolute about the opportunity, excited about it, and know their stuff. Okay, so you just, and also when you go through those 6 things, company, products, how we find customers, how we build a team, best way to get started, and how we make an income and the best way to get started, then people know that all their questions have been answered in that video. So they'll stop asking you things. And incidentally, when you follow someone up from the business, from their first information, whether it's YouTube, they've been to launch, that you've done a one-to-one or something, if they're asking lots of questions, okay, you're asking all the right questions, putting that aside for now, what grabbed you? Okay, fantastic. Well, look, the best thing to do now is do what I did and go through the business and watch the business presentation, because it gives you all the nuts and bolts to the business. It will talk to you about the company, the products, how we find customers. Do you get the gist? And then that person's going to think, oh, right, okay, well, that will answer all my questions then. And that's what's so important. It's not our job to sit there and try and answer all their questions before they've seen all of the information. It's so important that they see all of the information, because then they'll start to answer their own questions and decide what they see in the business for them. And that's so, so important. We don't want to try and get them to think that business could work this way for them. They've got to work that out for themselves, because then they will be telling you how they think this business can grow. Is this making sense? Okay, the third option is if someone comes back to you and says, yeah, I've watched it, it's just not for me. It's not on my street, not for me at all. Okay, so then you kind of know that it's not for them. You can either say, was there anything that grabbed you? Was there anything in there that like you liked? Or you can go straight to, well, look, no problem at all. It's not for anybody, not for everybody. Who else do you know that is like you know, outgoing, confident, or whatever they are, who'd like to earn an extra £1 or £2 a month around their commitments? Silence. And just see if they know anybody. It just plants a seed. And sometimes when you say that, people start thinking, well, I do. And they don't realise the potential. So remember, so following up from the first information, there are 3 things that are going to happen. They either say, yeah, it was brilliant, send me some more information. And then it's okay, brilliant, what grabbed you? X, Y, Z. The best thing to do now then is do what I did and watch the business presentation. Gives you all the nuts and bolts. Blah, 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 blah. Second option is, yep, it looked great, but don't know enough people. There's loads of people in the area doing it. Put that aside for now. What grabbed you? X, Y, Z. I know how you feel. I felt exactly the same way. But what I found was, doesn't matter how many people in the area are doing it, because it's all about you and the people you know. And we're global. We're in 158 countries. There's 65 million people in the UK. And by working with me and the team, I can help you build your network. The best thing to do now is to do what I did and to watch the business presentation. Lead them into the business presentation. They don't know what the next step is. Is this all making sense? Someone take yourselves off mute and just say, yes, Claire, it's making sense, or no, I don't know what you're talking about. Please. Andrea, Clara, Julie, don't worry, I'm not going to eat. Oh, there you go. Clara.
It makes sense.
Is this making sense?
It is, especially the bit about slowing it all down when you're talking to them instead of rushing through.
That's the thing, and I see it quite
Yeah.
often, and it's almost like if you go back to page 20, no, I'm assuming you guys know what's on page 25, so that's the 7-point call. So even if you go back to that stage, and if you rush that stage, because when you first start the business, the fact that someone says, yeah, I'll have a look at some info, you're just like, woohoo, clink. Do you know what I mean? So it's, if you slow that stage down as well, you know that people are actually watching the clip, they know what's in it for them, and it's just a relaxed approach. No one's feeling under pressure. No one's feeling like you're wanting them to do it desperately. You know, it's very much of, you know, you just have a look and see if there's something here for you or not. And if there is, great. If there isn't, no problem at all. That's the kind of approach you need to take with people, because then people are much more confident and open to looking at information. So it's like thinking about how you would receive the tone that people speak in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
How long have you been in the business, Clara?
Right, this is the embarrassing bit. I think when I first looked at it, I think it's well over 5 years, but then I didn't do anything about it. And about a year ago, 2 years ago, I started up again with a new sponsor, and I'm trying to get focused now. Just
Okay.
getting the work-life balance.
Okay. You
But
know, nothing.
this year has been what I've done most.
I joined the business. Lucy introduced me to the business 3 years before I joined, and I've been in the business 4 years. And for the
Oh,
first 2 years, I didn't really do much. Do you know what I mean? So I've been a very slow starter. But what has happened in the last 18 months is I've built quite a big team, and I'm used to speaking to people and understanding that it's so important for the person that's joining the business to see something in it for them. Because if they don't, and if you're just trying to get them in business, they won't do anything. They simply won't do
yeah,
anything. And it will make your life a misery because you're constantly trying to get them to do stuff. And that's not what this business is about. You want independent forever business owners who, when they join the business, can get stuck into the training and your coaching and mentoring and build their own business. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah, true, yeah.
Hey, Clara, let's just do a little role play whilst you're on the phone. You can be as horrid as you like, but as realistic as you can. So if I contacted you, you'd seen the YouTube clip, and I give you a call and I say
Mhm.
to you, "Hi Clara, how are you? Have you managed to watch the clip?"
I haven't had a chance yet, but I will do it tonight.
Okay, fantastic. So if I give you a bell tomorrow, you think you'll have a chance to watch it?
Yes, I will try my best, and I'll let you know.
Okay, fab. I'll give you a call tomorrow then. And that's it.
Okay, good.
So it's kind of like if you have a relaxed approach with people, and I have people going around the cycle who have been going around
Mm,
the cycle and going around the cycle for months. But there's no pressure.
yeah.
And I now take the approach that if someone says to me, "Oh, I'm going on holiday next week for a couple of weeks," rather than me trying to get them to look at the
Mm,
information before they go, because I'm like, "Oh no, don't go away, you'll get bored, you'll forget about it." I'm very much like, "No problem at all. Why don't we wait till you get back so you're focused and we can look at this properly?"
mm,
Because it is a business,
okay.
and it is a business, and you want people who are going to look at this as a business. Otherwise, if they look at it as a hobby, that is going to cost them and us money. So I try and take that kind of approach. If someone's, you know, poorly, or they've got exams coming up, or they're about to have a baby, or they're going to their daughter's wedding, those kind of things, then I often say to them, "Well, look, why don't we give it another 10 days, couple of weeks? Let's catch up then when you've got time to focus." And by doing
Okay.
that, you take the control and you are saying to that person, "This is really important. So I want you to focus when you look at it." Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And it has
I
its,
think one thing,
go on, carry on.
I was going to say one thing I've learned, not from the recruiting, but from the um, sales side of things. From the it's I used to really try and I was almost salesy about the approach about trying to get people to try the products. But then it wasn't until I started using them that's the confidence came through, and I'd be very relaxed about that side of it. I'm still not that good with the recruiting side, but from sales, I just talk about it, let them know about the benefits, and then I leave it to them. And often, if I see somebody who's really negative, like they've got to be in their bonnet about it, I just leave it. But
Yeah,
then if I see somebody's interested, I just drop the information, let them know where to get me, and then I leave it. And I find with that, from using that approach, people tend to come back to me later when they
exactly.
say, okay,
You're absolutely
yeah,
right. Because no
yeah,
one wants to join, no one wants to buy from someone who's desperate, no one wants to join someone who's desperate. Do you see what I mean? And I think
yeah,
important that if you have a relaxed approach, and seriously, I walk around the house in the shower reciting what I was going to say because I was so petrified of following people up, which is just crazy. But you know what? The only way you can learn is to just keep doing it and speak to lots of people, lots and lots of people. And if you're ever in a situation where you don't know how to help someone, and we're going to talk about this in a second, so after the business presentation end, if you're ever in a situation where someone's asking loads of questions, which is good, questions are really, really good. Always look at questions as a positive thing. If someone has a list for me and they've said, "Look, I want to watch it again, I've got this, that, and the other," they're good. Questions are really good. So, but if you're quite new to the business, there is no um, harm in saying to someone, "Do you know what? Why would there be some value in my mentor?"
sorry.
Say again. Yeah, so
No, sorry, I just had to mute because of the noise in the background.
that's okay. So if someone is asking lots of questions after the business presentation stage, so remember, if they're asking questions between the first bit of information in the business presentation, the key is putting that aside for now, what grabbed you, feel, felt, found, the best thing to do now is. It's as simple as that. And you've got three options. Not interested, no problem at all, who else do you know? Look great, but, um, okay, great, putting that aside for now, what grabbed you? Blah, 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 feel, felt, found. The best thing to do now is to watch the business presentation. It gives you all the nuts and bolts, etc. Third option, yeah, it looked amazing. Have you got any more information? Yeah, I know, it's exciting, isn't it? What grabbed you? Don't forget to ask them that. No matter how excited they are, always ask them what grabbed them. The best thing to do now is to watch the business presentation. Okay, so now I'm going to talk you through after they've seen all of it. So, seen the business presentation. And there are various things that can come up, okay? It's the same principle. So when you're following up from the business presentation, it's the same principle. So I always say what grabbed you from the first stage. And then once you've seen the business presentation, I say, what did you like about what you saw? So you're going to have the three options again. You're going to have people that say, actually, I just don't think it's for me. Now, at this stage, that is slightly different, because if you think about it, they saw something in the YouTube clip or the first stage or the launch or the one-to-one that you did that they liked. This is why it's important to ask what grabbed them. So there was something that they saw that they liked. Something has now happened in watching that business presentation that's scared them. There is no other way to say it, but something's happened in there. They've seen something that's worried them, that's concerned them, that makes them think they can't do it. So if someone comes back to me after the business presentation and flatly says, yeah, it's not for me. No, I'm not going to take the opportunity. No, can't do it. It's not for me. I simply say, what's concerning you? That's it. I just say, really? What's concerning you? Very softly, very openly, because clearly something's worrying them. And there are, out of everyone that I ever say that to, very, very few people say nothing. Nothing's concerning me, it's just not for me. Most people will say, I just don't know if I know enough people. Goes back to the same stuff. I just don't think I've got the time. I'm moving house, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And if I'm going to do it, I really want to give it my all. And then I would say to them, okay, putting that aside for now, what did you like about what you saw? They start to tell you what they liked about what you saw, which means that concern they've got starts to shrink, because they're thinking, well, actually, I like this, I like that. And they're thinking, how can I find the time to do it? So it's really important. And also it's telling you what they've liked about what they've seen. So that's your first situation, is that someone can say, no, carte blanche, it's not for me. Decide it's not for me. And I just very softly say, really? What's worrying you? What's concerning you? And they will just tell me what's worrying them. It could be, I haven't got the 200 quid. That's great, but I can't afford that. Maybe. And I'll talk you through some of the key ones in a second. Or it could be that they say, I just haven't got the confidence to do it. Okay, so there are some key things that come up. Now I'm going to talk you through a few. If any of you want to come off mute, because there are certain things that people come back with, worries and concerns, and you're not sure how to answer those specifically, because there are loads, but there's probably a handful that are very similar and very common, then come off mute and tell me, and I'll talk you through what I would say. We're going to go through that in a second. Or the third option is someone comes back and says, yes, it looks amazing, can't wait to join. How do I do it? What do you say? Fantastic. What did you like about what you saw? It's so important to get that information from people, okay? So when people say, do you know what looks amazing, but just don't have the money for the box? My personal opinion on this is Forever is the most amazing business opportunity. And if you're prepared to put the work in, it can give you anything you want. Work is the key word here. And I'm never shy about the fact that Forever takes work if you want to build good incomes. It takes consistency, it takes doing the same activity over a prolonged period of time to see the income coming in. I'm never shy about telling people that. I think it's really important, especially if people, say, oh, I know people that have done it and not made any money. Then I'm very honest and open, very relaxed. I'm never aggressive. I'm just very calm in how I approach people, because it shows an honesty and a confidence in what I'm saying. So when people come back about the £200, I just say to them, okay, putting that aside for now, what's grabbed you? What did you like about what you've seen? X, Y, Z. So then with the £200, I'll always say, okay, so is that your only issue? Is that your only challenge? Or is there something else? Because sometimes people will use the £200 as an excuse because actually they're scared, or actually they don't know if they know enough people, or actually they don't know if they'll have enough time, okay? And often people will say, well, yeah, that, and I'm not sure if I know enough people. So I always say, we're putting that aside for now. What grabbed you? What did you like about what you've seen? Okay, so is the £200 your only issue, or is there something else? If there's something else, I'll address that first. And then I'll say, okay, with regards to the £200, by working with me and the team, you'll recoup your money for your business owner box within your first 2 to 4 weeks. And once you've registered, we'll put a plan in place within 3 days, 72 hours to do just that. Who could help you out? Silence. Okay. This isn't going to mean that every single person in the whole wide world is going to say, oh, my mum can. But it just helps people to think about, have they got any options? I've had mums buy boxes. I've had sons buy boxes. I've had people borrow from grandparents. And it gives a sense of urgency to get the income back. And then you can get a retail plan in place. You can get launches booked, activity, trial group messages being sent, C9, all those kind of things to build that income back quickly. And I do that as quickly as I can. And I'm resolute in doing that. And I know exactly how people can build that income back. So that's how I would approach that. Now, if they say to you, I've got no one at all, I'll just say, okay, so what are your options? And leave it with them. We can't buy people's boxes for them. They've got to find a way to join the business for themselves. It's an investment in this business, which is an absolute steal. Okay, so it's not going to turn everyone around, but that's how I would handle that. Okay, I haven't got the time. There are different ways that you can approach this. If you're speaking to someone and they just want to earn a few £100 a month, then that's quite an easy one to solve, because they come back to you and they say, yeah, I've watched the business presentation. It looks great, but do you know what? I haven't got the time. I can see in that video that if you want to earn the income, you really got to put the work in. And I would say to her, him, okay, putting that aside for now, what have you liked about what you've seen? I like this, I like that, I'd love to do this, I'd love to do that. And I'd say, okay, so, and what kind of income are you looking to build? And if they said just a few £100 a month, I would just say, well, if I told you that you could earn that by putting in 3 to 5 hours a week, would that make a difference? Let them decide. The key with these answers and the way that you talk to people, another important point to make is people don't like to be told. So you don't want to tell people. So the ineffective response to this would be, someone says to you, yes, I've watched it and it looks great, but I really don't think I've got enough time, Claire. Yeah, you have. You can work it around the children because you go to the gym and stuff. So you can do it in the car, you can call people, and then when so-and-so's away at the weekend, you can do a bit of work then. Do you see what I mean? People don't like to be told. Don't tell them how they can run this business, because if someone took that approach with you, you'd just be like, but I've just told you I don't have enough time. Do you see what I mean? So it's getting them to think about and them making the decision all the way. It's not your decision. You don't want to convince people to join this business. You just help them to see what's in it for them and if they're prepared to make the commitment to build a fantastic future. So, but however, having said that, if someone said to me, it looks great, but I just don't think I've got the time. And I said to them, okay, putting that aside for now, what did you like about what you saw? Well, I love the fact that I could replace my full-time income. I love this, I love that, I love blah, blah, blah. I would say to them, okay, you're right. It does take some time to replace your income, and you're going to need to be creative to find it. And to replace £2,000 a month, you're going to need to find at least 10 hours a week. What can you do to find that time? There's no point fluffing it up, because they would need to. And if they say, I just don't think I can, but maybe when Sophie goes to school, I'll have an extra day, or maybe when, my hours drop or hubby's home or something, then I just say, and there's another, this is the close that I'll talk about in a second. I always use the Wes Linden close. That's okay, because time is everything. Would it be okay if I keep in touch from time to time to see how you're getting on and let you know how we're doing? No one's ever said no. And often people might need to look at this business 6, 12 times before they join. Clara, what happened to you? You joined, didn't do much, started again with a new sponsor. I looked at the business 3 years before I joined. It doesn't happen all the time, but often if I'm at a success day or a training, I'll be in a room with people, they'll ask the question, 50% of hands will go up to the question, who joined forever the first time they looked at it? It's about 50%, so you've got 50% that will always revisit. So don't burn your bridges. And always, always follow these people up. Okay. Sorry, you were going to say, Clara?
No, no, so agree. I joined it the first time I looked at it, but it took a while before I did anything really.
Yeah, and the same with me. And now I'm one of Lucy's key people, if you see what I mean. So, people can take their time to build a business with Forever. So it's important to make sure, if someone just wants to earn a few £100s a month, I would just say, look, if I told you by finding a few hours a week you can earn that kind of income, would that make a difference? And they may still say, I haven't even got that time, Claire. I don't have time for a pee. Then I'd say, well, look, do you know what? Time is everything. Would it be okay if I keep in touch from time to time to see how you're doing and let you know how we're doing? No one's ever said no to that. I'd rather have that approach than saying, oh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. I'll help you. It's you've got to be realistic. But a lot of the times people will be like, yeah, I think I can find that time. Okay, great. Okay, so that's one of the ones that's quite key. I'd like to try the products first. I don't often get this one, but I do now and again. And I just say, great, that's what the business owner box is for. That's it. It's heavily discounted and you can use all the products. And the idea behind that is that you can use them and you can show other people as well. And I'm going to talk you through what we do next in a second. Don't know if I can do it. This is kind of a confidence one. I don't know if I can do it. How do you know unless you try? I'll be there to support you every step of the way. You've got nothing to lose, but everything to gain. Now, there are lots and lots of these, but I'm going to flip to the ones that I think, oh, here we go. This is quite common. I don't know enough people. I get this quite a lot. And I always use the feel, felt, found with that because that's how I feel. I'm the sort of person that would go to the gym. I love being on my own. I'm quite solid. I love my own company. I love it when Peter goes away for the weekend. I love my own company. Quite happy on my own. I'll go and sit in a coffee shop and have a coffee and a cake. I'll go and sit in a bar and have a glass of wine. I'm not bothered with things like that. So for me, I was thinking, and I have got a huge circle of friends, but I was petrified about talking to my friends. So I say exactly this. I know how you feel. I felt exactly the same way. But what I found was when I started showing my friends and family what I was doing, they recommended the products to other people and my network grew. My sponsor also worked closely with me, as I would, to help me expand my network. And as we're global, you can build a business anywhere in the world. And don't forget that. So when you're talking to people that say to you, I've only just moved here, all my family are in Timbuktu, great. We've got an office in Timbuktu because we probably have. And if you haven't got an international directory, get one. Just say, great, you can build a business anywhere in the world. That to me is not even a concern. Do you see what I mean? So, and then people then think, oh, well, I don't need to worry about that then. Because they don't. That's probably not a very common one. Aren't there lots of people doing it? Does anyone get this one? I just say, do you know what? I've got people in my area. I live in a little village. And I've got people in this area, I've got friends, I've got family that work with Forever. But because we're global, it doesn't matter where you live or how many people in your area are doing it because it's all about the people that you know. And evidence has actually shown that if you sat down with your best friend or your brother or your mum or someone you work with and wrote down a list of all the people you knew, there'd only be about 5% crossover. And I just say, do you know what? We're global. It doesn't matter how many people are doing it. And actually, it's testament to the fact of how well Forever are growing and how exciting this business is. And you couldn't be hopping on board at a better time. And we're in 158 countries. There are billions of people in this world. You can build a business anywhere. Why aren't they sold in shops? I've very rarely had this, but it's quite straightforward. If you have shops, you've got overheads, which means that we'd have to either up the cost of the products or reduce the quality. We're not going to do that. So network marketing is like having an army of people distributing the products for Forever. That's how a network marketing business works. Let's have a look at some more common ones. Okay, I've never sold anything before, or I'm rubbish at sales, or I couldn't sell sand to an Eskimo. No, I can't think of that. Couldn't sell a sun to the Eskimo, or whatever the saying is. I always say, great. Thank God for that. I'm not looking for a salesperson. All I'm looking for is someone who can recommend products and look after a handful of customers. And I'll be holding your hand every step of the way. You'll be great at the development and training aspect of the business. You'll be great at coaching others. And that's all we look for, is we look for people who can recommend products to other people. And I tell stories. Stories sell, facts tell. I always tell story after story. So For example, when I joined the business, I went out of my comfort zone, went next door and spoke to my neighbour who I knew had arthritic knees. And I said to him, and this is what I tell people when they say they have never sold before. And I said to Pete, look, I've just started this new business and our Freedom, our drinking gel, tastes like rat's poop, but it's supposed to be really good for arthritis. I've only just started drinking it myself, but it's anti-inflammatory, and I just wondered if you wanted to try it. It's no obligation, but there's a 60-day money-back guarantee, and I know how much pain you get. And he said, yes, of course, young Claire. I'm not young, he's just old. He said, of course, I'll try it for you, no problem whatsoever. So that's how I position recommending the products. And incidentally, the stories that you pick up from success days, training events, listening into these kind of things are really, really important because they help you build your business, and it helps you give genuine information to people, things that you've heard, seen, understood, what you've seen other people do. Okay. If someone says to you, if someone gets to, so you've answered their question, they say, oh, I just need to think about it. There's something that's still niggling. There's something they're still worried about. There's something they're still concerned about, because no one's going to join the business unless all their concerns have gone. And if they haven't, maybe it's just not right for them. So if someone says, I just need to think about it, I always say, okay, what's still worrying you? What do you need to think about? And it may just be that they need to go and, she says, well, I just want to check, I just want to talk to my partner. No problem at all. I think that's a great idea. And I encourage them to watch the business presentation together, because someone telling your partner how the business works without them watching the presentation is always a bit tricky to give that information that you've seen in 45 minutes to their other half. So I just say, do you know what? I think that's a great idea. That I would advise you, the best thing to do is sit and watch the presentation together, because that will explain it all for him. So yeah, if people want to think about it, there's something that's been unanswered. There we go. Talk to the partner. I don't often get, does anyone make any? Oh, I'll tell you what I do get though sometimes is, yeah, I know people that have done that, and it's cost them money. And I just say, really? How much support do they have? Do you know much about the business side of things? I think nothing of saying to people, well, do you know what? Unfortunately, there are lots of people that aren't successful in this business, but the people that are successful are the people that work hard. And honestly, they probably just didn't work hard enough or for long enough. This is a business, and it can take time to build a good income, as does any business. A lot of businesses don't even make profits for a couple of years. So I think nothing of saying, this is a business. It's not a salary job. There's often a gap between activity and results, and it takes time to build your income. And often people don't give it enough time. And then I can use me as an example because I'm there. But if you're not there yet, use other people. Use Lucy as an example. My mentor Lucy, her background, her story, her income. Diana, this is what's so important. Use other people. If you're not there yet, use stories of other people. We talked about the £200, didn't we? I'll see how you do. Now, if people say this, what's the time? Oh, it's 9:15. If people say this, there's a big chance that you have said something during your conversations with someone to encourage them to think this way. So during the time you've been speaking to people, you've probably said something like, yeah, well, I'm hoping it's going to do this, and I'm going to see how it goes, and yeah, I hope to get or you've used the word hope, see how it goes, give it a try, that kind of thing. So if you've used those kind of words, their natural instinct will be to see how you do. Does that make sense? So be very careful in the words that you're using. It's like, I know it can give you this, and this is where I'm going, and I know that I'm going to be building an income, or I'm going to be buying my new house. So it's those kind of words. But if they do come back with this, you just say, I know that by December I'll be manager, which means I'm going to be earning about £1,200 a month. If you decide this business is right for you, let's get started straight away so you can be earning the same as well. Or you can play catch up. It's up to you. Okay. Right. Commission only, there are 5 ways in which we get paid, because you've got your retail, personal bonus, one-off payment responsor, team building bonus, chairman's bonus. Okay, it's not salaried, but there are 5 ways in which you get paid. By working with me, you'll be earning £1,000 to £2,000 a month in 5 months. Okay, I'm just going to find. Okay, so this is back to the follow-up call. So Okay, so you have those same three choices after business presentation. It's not for them. And that's when I would say, really, what's concerning you? Okay. And get all the information out of them. And then you'd say, okay, putting that aside for now, what have you liked about what you've seen? And then you'd go back to their concerns. Second option is it looks great, but putting that aside for now, what have you liked about what you've seen? Then you answer their questions. Third option, oh, it looks amazing, can't wait to join. Great, what have you liked about what you've seen? Okay, then you're going to take them to the next step. Okay, and remember, people don't know what the next step is. And now I'm going to whiz right way back up because this is where the slides have gone a bit wonky. So the next step is, okay, great. Sounds like we just need to get you registered, get your box ordered, and get your planning meeting in the diary. Okay. There you go. Okay, so don't be afraid. People don't know what the next step is. They don't know what the next step is. So you've BP, putting that aside for now, what grabbed you, answer their questions. Okay, great. Sounds like we just need to get you registered, get your business owner box ordered, and get your planning meeting in the diary. Wait for their response. Yeah, okay. Well, I just need to think about it. Okay. What is it you need to think about? What's still worrying you? Relaxed, no pressure, not, well, what are you still worried about? You know, it's really relaxed because you're not desperate. You just want good people to join the business. And then I'll take them through what they need. So we can do that online now. It takes about 10 minutes, and the information you'll need is going to be your address, your bank account information, and sort of code for the account you want your money to go into. Then just the card details to order your pack. Have you got all of that with you? So I make that quite clear. Again, I say it slowly because no one wants to join someone that's desperate. It's really important that they are excited about joining this business. Okay, so it's leading them to the next step. Okay, and we've talked about this already. Okay, right, so a couple of other closes. So I'm just going to whiz back down here. I'm sorry that these are slightly out of order. If it's not the right time, if it's not right for them or it's not the right time for them, I would just say there's a couple of closes, but I prefer Wes Linden's, which is next. Look, I'd love to keep in touch if that's okay with you, because I honestly think you'd be very good at this and make a lot of money. In the meantime, who do you know in your circle that could do an extra couple of grand a month? Okay, if you could pass the details on, that'd be great. Or if you can connect us, that'd be great. This is the Wes Linden close, which I like. That's okay. You know, it's okay because time is the most important thing. And do think openly and honestly, if you're speaking to someone who wants a replacement income and they're telling you they don't have enough time because they've got certain commitments that even in your head you might be thinking, yeah, but you wouldn't need to make that priority. You could make forever priority. You wouldn't need to do that. They've got to make that decision themselves, and they've got to be ready to make that decision. People have got to be ready to join this business. So it doesn't matter what you think, it's what they think that's important. That's okay, because time is the most important thing. Would it be okay to keep in touch from time to time to find out how you're getting on and let you know how we're doing? Everyone has said yes to me. And then when you catch back up with them, you simply say, hey, how are you? How's things? Okay? Then when the conversation opens, promised I'd keep in touch to let you know how we're doing. Just wondered if this might be a better time to revisit forever. And if they say no, it's still manic, that's okay, because time is the most important thing. Would it be okay to keep in touch from time to time? Okay? If it's definitely a no, do you know what? I've looked into this and it's just not for me. But thank you so much for inviting me to have a look. No worries at all. I wish you all the best. I hope you find what you're looking for. You know, and in the meantime, who in your circle do you know that could do an extra couple of grand a month? If you can connect us, that'd be great. So it's always ask for referrals, always. Not everyone's going to give you one, but you could just get one referral that ends up being your next diamond manager. So I'm really hoping, I'm just going to double check there anything else. No. Okay, so I'm hoping, guys, that's helped you in terms of how to take someone once they've seen the YouTube clip, been to launch, you've done a one-to-one, to the business presentation, then from the business presentation afterwards. I guess the key is don't overcomplicate the cycle. Less is more. And once they've seen all the information, if they're asking lots of questions, that's a really good sign. Don't tell people how it can work. You take a breath and you say, and don't get caught up in their concerns straight away. So if they say, yeah, great, but blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, that's okay. I know how you feel, because take a step back and go, put that aside for now. What did you like about what you saw? And then go into their concern, but don't tell, because even if you know someone really well, yeah, but you can. You don't have to go to the gym every night. You could do this, and when they're sleeping, you could do this. Do you know what I mean? So don't tell. It's important that they can work out and they tell you how they can build this business. So yes, I hope that's helped you. Has anyone got any questions or anything that's burning that they want to ask or are unsure of, or something that they struggle with, or anything like that? Or if anyone wants to hop off and just say, thanks, that helped, or that was rubbish. You're all so shy. Someone give me some feedback, please. Andrew, Clara, Julie, Kirsty. That helped, Kirsty. Kirsty, we haven't even talked about taking people around the cycle yet. So yeah. Okay, brilliant. Well, listen, guys. You can message me. You can always get in touch with me if you need help with anything in particular, in terms of anything, if you're speaking to anyone. And don't be nervous about suggesting speaking to your sponsor if you think it would help. You can always say to people, would it help if you chatted to my sponsor? They've been in the business a little bit longer. And then you can decide if you think it's right for you or not. Okay. So I hope that has helped. Thank you very much for logging on, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. See you later.